Hello and welcome to Sky247.net presents Not Just Cricket. Thank you, Deep and Vaseem, for joining me today. It's going to be a very interesting game. The clock is certainly ticking for Kolkata. From now on, the Knights have to fight as if there is no tomorrow. But standing in their way tonight are Rajasthan, who have blown away many teams thus far. A Kolkata win will keep not just them, but a lot of other teams interested. Deep, I'll start with you. How interesting is this game going to be, and what are your opening thoughts, please?
Well, obviously, it's going to be extremely interesting, and the fact that generally speaking, Rajasthan hasn't won a game chasing, that just brings a totally different dimension to this game. They've won all their games batting first, and generally, what happens is you want to chase, right? So, it's a very tricky thing. I think Wasim in the last Rajasthan game did mention this as well. The fact that you don't mind Rajasthan chasing and Kolkata kind of batting first, but talking about Kolkata. I just get a feeling that not everyone in that dressing room is on the same page. Generally after you have a good start, when you win what three out of the first four, you generally hold on to that combination or whatever. If required, you make tactical changes. But what I see and what I've seen rather in the last few games, they've just made too many. If I'm not wrong, they've made what 19 changes in the last few games or something like that, and so that just tells you that things aren't that right in that dressing room.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all those changes when we go to the numbers tracker because we certainly need to talk about this furthermore. Vaseem, Kolkata, before the tournament started, did you think Kolkata will be in this kind of predicament with 5 losses in a row, starting at
No, no, I didn't. I didn't actually, Karishma. I mean, being the finalist team last year, I expected them to obviously, get through to the playoffs because they've got pretty much the similar team from last season. And they've started the tournament well as well. If you look at the first 4 games, they won the first 3 games. So, it looked like, they were on the track. You know, uh, Varun was still doing okay. Umesh Yadav was performing well with the new ball. He was a revolution at the start of the tournament, and Pat Cummins was supposed to come. So a lot of good things were happening for KKR at the start of the tournament, but after that, they just fizzled out, and I don't know what happened. Aaron Finch came in, and even Pat Cummins came in, but the results didn't go their way, and that has been very very surprising. Their opening combination is not settled yet. Varun Chakravarti has lost form. Their death bowling is again a concern. So a lot of loopholes. Their main players, somebody like Andrew Russell, hasn't fired as much as they would have liked him to. Shreyas Iyer again hasn't won them the games. So it has been a very mixed, tournament. It's pretty much similar to what they did in the first half of last season. They turned it around when the tournament shifted to Dubai, but it's pretty much similar to what happened in the first half. And I can't pinpoint my finger because they've got quality players in that team, but somehow they are not, clicking together. They just need 3 or 4 players to stand up, but it's just not happening.
Yeah. Tactically, do they need to bring back Varun considering the pitches will not slow down? Admittedly, he is out of form.
Mhm. Uh, yes, yes and no, because again, a lot of it depends on how he's bowling in the nets. Is he looking confident? If he's in the right mental space or not? Because we got to understand one thing about Varun, that he's not he has not come through the system, right?
Hmm.
Like most of us, we played 16, 19, and so there's a lot of cricket behind us once you reach this stage. But someone like Varun, he hasn't. So is he in the right space? Is he in that right kind of even form for that matter? Yes, I mean the idea of Varun sounds very good. Mystery
Hmm.
bowler and everything else, and what he's done in the last year and a half. Obviously, it sounds like a great option, but I think it also depends on where he is right now in his career, so to say. And the other important thing, I don't know. I mean, maybe because of that lack of experience of playing number of games and all. Last season, let's not forget contribution of Dinesh Karthik behind the stumps as far as Varun's contribution is concerned, right? A lot, because I personally believe he depended a lot on DK in terms of what he needs to do and how he needs to go about his bowling, especially during the game as well. And his absence, I don't know, maybe it has played a role in his current form. So yeah, I mean it's a very tricky one, and yeah, I mean I would be very very careful bringing him in.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Okay, चलो बात करते हैं राजस्थान की. पिछले मैच में they were, unlucky against their last game against Mumbai, as a few marginal decisions didn't go their way, but they will surely be pleased as to how their tournament has panned out so far, right, Wasim?
Yes, I think so. I think with the kind of team they had, I'm sure they'll be happy where they're sitting at the table. Only few boxes to tick, I feel, for Rajasthan is to win. Scoring in the second innings. Chasing the total, they haven't done that. Sanju Samson's form is on and off, and they're relying too heavily on Josh Butler. And sometimes it can backfire. In the most important games, if Josh Butler doesn't score, then I've got question mark over their batting. Even in the last game, Josh Butler batted 17, 18 overs, and he couldn't get away because the wicket was such. But if Josh Butler doesn't fire, I've got serious question marks, over their batting. Other than that, I mean, the bowling is absolutely superb, comparing to the other teams. But the batting has to fire. I mean, Sanju Samson needs to, be a little bit more consistent. Shimran Hetmeyer has been on and off again. But the other guys, I feel, need to stand up. If they need to score consistently over 180, 190, they need to take a little bit of, pressure off of Josh Butler.
Okay, let's remind our viewers जो पिछला encounter था, it was really a high scoring affair. The last time these two sides met, Kolkata will be desperate to make sure Butler doesn't repeat his century heroics from that game. I'm pretty sure they'll be quite nervous about that. So Deep, let's discuss this, please.
Yeah, I mean, they were very different the situation back then, because right now more than Rajasthan, I think Kolkata needs to sort out its own house. This is what I believe. They have the personnel, they have quality in that side, in that playing 11 and the squad. The fight right now, it seems, at least to me, that it's more internal than about Rajasthan. If they sort their internal things out, it'll be a good game. We can see another repeat of that. Was a very close game. I mean, we're talking about 7 runs, 200, 220, 427 runs being scored there. So I will not be surprised if it's a close game. But for that to happen, for me, Kolkata has to look internally before they start thinking about Rajasthan or any other opposition. Sort yourself out. Everything else will take care of itself.
It sure will. Let's take a look at the numbers tracker powered by Sky247.net. A look at that right now. So their opening fiasco. I mean, Kolkata's Achilles heel so far. Not once have their openers crossed 50 as a pair. Is that one of the main reasons why they find themselves in this situation, Wasim?
Well, absolutely. I mean, they've started. You can see here they've hardly got any start apart from that first game, and no surprises there. They've started with Rahane and Ayyar, and both of them are not opening now. I mean, they've brought Aaron Finch at the start, and then obviously Rahane got dropped. Then they shifted Venkatesh Ayyar to number 5 and 6. Now they've started. They've brought him back again. So there's no clarity as to who's going to open. They've opened with Sam Billings also, Sunil Narayan couple of games. So you can see that it's a clustered mind. They are not pretty sure who's going to open and who's going to bat where. So that's not a problem. I mean, once your openers doesn't give you a solid start, it's very very difficult for any team to post big score. You don't want to be losing 2-3 wickets in the power play, Karishma. Otherwise, you are on the back foot straight away. And that has been the problem at the top of the innings and in the bowling in the death. So that has been the major problem. And even the last game that we talked about, that was their game to win. Apart from that Chahal's over where he got the hat trick, Kolkata should have won that game. So yeah, like Deep said, they need to get their act together. The internal things, whatever that it can be. Otherwise, there's no breathing space for Chennai and for KKR. They need to win all their games to stand a chance. And Kolkata, Korbo, Ladbo, Jeepo now, it's not going to be later, anytime later.
Deep, what would you like to add to this?
Uh, Nothing much. As Wasim mentioned, I mean, listen, irrespective which format you're playing, your openers play a huge role. Whether it's Test match, 50 or T20, it doesn't matter. And look at all the successful sides. Either, I mean, their bowling's been good. I mean, it's there for everyone to see. The bowling's been good, and the top three have more often than not scored.
Hmm.
These are two very, very important things that you really need. And once you, like Wasim mentioned, you lose 2 wickets in the first six, you're playing catch up then,
Hmm.
and then it becomes very, very difficult, especially high scoring games, and especially against teams like Rajasthan who have all these power hitters and all. And at times, what I've also noticed in the last couple of years, they leave so much for Andre Russell, right? Yes, I mean he's a gun player. He's got a very high strike rate. He can win you games from unimaginable positions, but not every game. So
Yeah.
that's where again they need to figure out, somebody needs to take little more responsibility in the top three. For Shreyas has been again hot and cold, but you expect someone like Shreyas to take that responsibility, like someone like K. Rahul or someone, and say, listen, you know what? From here on, I'm going to score another 200, 250 runs, even though it might be comparatively at a slower pace, maybe 125, 130, but then you have other people revolving around him, because somebody has to take that kind of a responsibility, especially in the top three.
Absolutely. Let's also talk about Sanju Samson. Why does he fizzle out in the second half of the tournament? What is he doing wrong, and how can he fix this inconsistency? Now, the graphic we have over here is the last 4 years and doesn't include 2022. So, वसीम, आपको क्या
Yeah.
लगता है संजू सैमसन के बारे में?
करिश्मा, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बहुत हाई रिस्क शॉट खेलते हैं. आई मीन अगर हम उनका पेस देखें, 27 इनिंग्स, इफ यू डिवाइड, आप दोनों एंड पे डिवाइड करें तो बहुत ड्रास्टिक डिफरेंस है. ऑलमोस्ट 15 रन्स का एवरेज में डिफरेंस है. couple of hundreds at the start of the tournament, but there's no hundreds at all in the business end. तो मुझे looking from the outset, I feel that he first of all takes a lot of risk while he is batting. बहुत सारी गेंदें हवाओं में मारते हैं. He's one of those guys who likes to hit sixes. And on not a good day, if it doesn't come off, you are going to get out. And so many times we have seen that. He doesn't play percentage cricket. He plays at very high risk, and sometimes that can take you in trouble. I mean, he's not somebody who bats at number 5 and 6 where he needs to take those risks. He's somebody who bats at number 3 and probably number 4. So he can, take his chances, but he has to be very calculative as well. And sometimes I feel he takes far too many risks. And if you are going to play for India, or if you are looking to go, just look at how KL Rahul bats, or for that matter Josh Butler bats, and Virat Kohli when he's in good form. They don't take as many risks as much Sanju Samson does. So when that doesn't come off, you are going to get out. But when it comes off, it does look very good. It does look very outstanding. So he needs to be, have that percentage game. And when, he plays in that manner, I feel he'll score a lot more runs, because I can't see any problem in his batting. There's no technical problem. There's nothing that, not any shot that he cannot play, but he just need to, take that risk factor a little bit low. That percentage has to be a little bit low, I feel.
Okay, the
Wasim, sorry, Wasim, do you agree? I mean, I think I've said this before as well. At times, I think, as you mentioned, there's no technical issue, but at times, I think he's thinking ahead of himself. At times, that's at times I get that feeling that he's already thinking about what he's going to do next over. That is good. You need to plan. That's fine. But at just get a feeling that he kind of starts thinking ahead of himself, and he gets into trouble. A great example of what Wasim mentioned about low percentage or high percentage. See, every player has his own high percentage shots, right? For example, a Glenn Maxwell reverse sweep is a high percentage shot for him. But Sanju Samson got out to playing a reverse sweep. I think it was last game or the game before. That's not his high percentage shot. His high percentage would be more down the ground, right? So those are the things, and this is what I don't know what you make of that, Wasim.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at that inning, what you just mentioned, he's reverse sweeping to Hasaranga and getting bowled. In the same innings, in the power play, hit him over extra cover for a six. So when you can do that, Karishma, why you need to have that option? I mean, if you find him difficult, you can just rotate the strike and go to the other end and give the other guy a chance. Why you need to play those such risky shots when the franchise is dependent on you? You and Josh Butler are the main player who are going to score maximum runs. So I think you just need to cut down those risks. Just look at how KL Rahul operates. He takes his time. He only hits, when he wants to. Not that he cannot do, but he takes that percentage. Uh, for somebody who's played literally 10, 11 seasons of IPL, for Sanju to do, commit same mistake, I think that is one of the reasons why he could not cement his place in Indian team. I feel, because he hasn't got that start. He couldn't convert those starts into big scores. So it's about time that he does that.
Yeah, it is about time that he actually does that. Let's talk about our next key battle, Narayan versus Butler. Should Kolkata look to bring in Narayan early against Butler, who has struggled against the mystery spinner in the past? Deep.
Yes, that's an option. I was reading somewhere. I mean, some of the other, other bowlers have gone for plenty in front of him. So Sunil Narayan, yes, but what we've noticed also of Sunil is that he does not bowl in the power play that much. Maybe because he's not that comfortable bowling in the power play. Even those numbers are phenomenal. That's a great matchup there. But again, what also you've got to keep in mind whether the bowler himself is comfortable or not bowling in the first six. If he is, then definitely is. The other thing I think we've mentioned this before is try and get your main wicket taking bowlers up front against Joss Butler. Right?
Hmm.
Don't let him settle down. Joss Butler on zero is a different player. Joss Butler batting on 25 is a different player. So you've got to keep in mind if the bowler is comfortable, just get your wicket taking bowlers, guys who you think can pick up Joss Butler up front before he gets in.
Yeah. After 25, he's a bullet train and you can't catch him at all. The next key battle is Ashwin and Andre Russell. Should Rajasthan have a few Ashwin overs for the end phase? I mean, he has the wood over Russell and cleaned him up with a beauty in the last game, evidently. So, Vaseem, this one is for you.
Well, I think that was a game-changing moment actually.
Mhm.
Ashwin getting him on the first ball. If Russell would have batted in that innings, 10 balls after that, he would have finished the game pretty easily. So it's going to be a key battle, and I think Russell need to respect that. Somebody who's got a wood over him. Sometimes it's advisable or even sensible to just play him out. Maybe take few singles, finish his quota off, and there are plenty of other bowlers who can target. Exactly what Josh Butler did in the first time they played. If you remember, he didn't take any chances against Sunil Narayan. He just rotated the strike and targeted the other bowlers, and still got 100 pretty easily. So that's where probably I feel Russell needs to be a little bit smart in how he plays Ashwin. He doesn't need to bog down. Just take few singles. He's only going to bowl one or at most two over, if at all. But there are other bowlers who you can easily take, 15 to 17 overs, at the economy. So he just need to be a little bit smart, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ab waqt aa gaya for the fantasy tracker. You have selected this, Vaseem. Let's take a look at the Sky247.net presents fantasy tracker. Vaseem, can you please take us through your team?
Karishma, I've got Josh Butler, captain. Again, pretty simple and straight choice. Nitish Rana, the other batter. Shreyash Iyer, again, somebody, two important batters, I feel, for KKR to fire. Sanju Samson is my wicket-keeping option. Andre Russell is my vice-captain because he bowls and bowls those important overs. So he can give you points. He's somebody who can bowl 2 overs and can get you 3 and 4 wickets, and his batting is again you don't have to speak about it. Shimran Hetmeyer has got a few quiet games, so he's pretty dangerous and due for runs. Sunil Narayan, again, if he opens, his bowling is just as bankable as anything. So if he opens, he can give you points on the batting front too. Ravi Ashwin, again, same thing. He comes in at number three if they lose the wicket up front. So he can give you points there. Team Saudi, Yajwinder Chahal is my spin option, the purple cap holder, and then Prasidh Krishna is my fast bowling option.
That's a great team indeed. Let's take a look at the social tracker. Okay, let's look at the tweets. So, I mean, everything was yellow yesterday. I mean, everyone was very, very happy. The yellow has no boundaries, and it was a lot of love for the captain, and that's from Cricket Tracker as well. This beautiful portrait of Dhoni. Like I said, it was all things yellow. How was
suddenly Dhoni became captain and everything became normal, isn't it?
even
Ruturaj Gaikwad came into form. The bowling, even the fielding wasn't up to the mark, but CSK winning, something which we are used to seeing.
But how was it
How,
at the ground as well, Deep? Because आप तो वहाँ पे थे, and how was it? People must have been like
It was unbelievable. It was like sea of yellow. और सबके टी-शर्ट के पीछे एक ही नाम था, एक ही नंबर था, 7 नंबर और धोनी. सारे yellow t-shirt. I can't remember seeing a yellow t-shirt because on our way out of the stadium, I could not see any other name. It was obviously yellow, and every yellow t-shirt had number 7 and Dhoni written on it. And it was unbelievable. Obviously, there were placards, there were these posters and everything else. Listen, he's a different. He's more than a cricketer, all right, and he's obviously more than just a CSK cricketer. He's special for all of us, irrespective whether we follow Chennai or not.
I know there were so many tweets, and even yesterday, all my tweets. It was all Dhoni, Dhoni, Dhoni. We have a statement also from Dhoni, which is our next tweet. Let's have a look. So this is his what he said. Once you become captain, it means a lot of demands come in. But what I felt is it affected his mind as the task grew. I think captaincy burdened his prep and performances. It meant he could not go with the bat and the ball with the same intensity, even if you relieve captainship, and even if you are at the best, and that's what we want. So I think the point is that not everyone can be a captain, and that's absolutely fine. A friend of mine might not want to be in a management position, and she's great at what she does. It doesn't mean you can't, but there's a different kind of, I don't know, pressure that.
Yeah, skill sets are different, obviously. Listen, both Wasim's led teams, I've led teams. Either, it's something either you have it or you don't. Some people can handle it well, and some people can't, and there's nothing wrong in it. If someone like Jadeja is not comfortable with that tag, it is absolutely fine. It's nothing to be shameful about or feel bad about. It's just there. Not everyone can be a general, right? You need soldiers as well. If everyone starts being a general and wants to be a general, then who's going to kind of fight the war? So I guess so. You've got to be careful there, and in terms of how we read that statement. It is a positive statement and not a negative statement or nothing against Ravindra Jadeja. We're going to look at it as is and not give it a color to that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it was a bad statement. I think it was a positive statement, and he wants him to absolutely focus on what he is good at. Wasim, is captaincy a blessing or a burden?
Well, it depends how you look at it. First of all, like Deep has mentioned, like I have done captainship for Mumbai and other teams. He has done for Bengal and the other teams. Sometimes when you do it from the start, from your schools to under 16, under 19, the more you do it, the more you can look at yourself, and then you keep improving. The next time you do, you want to do it better as long as you assess yourself. I remember when Rohit Sharma became captain of Mumbai Ranji team. He hasn't been a captain before. I can't remember him captaining either under 19 team or even under 16 team or even his school team. I can't remember that. But the moment he became Mumbai captain and the way he spoke to the group, you could make out that this guy is a captainship material. The way he talks, it makes sense. He's got that leadership capability. But some guys who haven't done it, when they speak, in the gathering or speak to the players, you can easily make out that it's not his cup of tea.
Yeah.
So it all depends, how you take it. If you take it as a blessing, it will turn out to be a blessing. If you take it as a burden, then it's
Yeah.
going to burden you. And for Ravindra Jadeja, it did look like it was a burden to him. Plainly, it's nothing. It's not his mistake. He's never done a captainship at any level, and you're throwing him at the deep end of the sea, where you've got such superstars, playing, and anything wrong that he's going to do, everybody is going to judge it, because they've been captained by MS Dhoni for last, forever years. So
Yeah.
it's not easy shoes to fill for Ravindra Jadeja, and I do feel for him. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's Ravindra Jadeja's, any mistake in that, but it's an inbuilt quality. Either you have it or you don't.
Absolutely, Deep. I mean, what are the good traits for a good captain? This is not saying that he wasn't, and how
Yeah.
important communication would obviously be the key as well. But I think
Uh,
Wasim's quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, apart from obviously meriting your place straight away in the side, I mean, that goes without saying. You have to be one of the first names on that team list. That goes without saying. But apart from that, what I think is being transparent and trust is are two very very important things. Trust is something which is very very primary in my book. Same with transparency, because as a leader, as a captain, at times you need to take a lot of tough decisions. But if you're honest and transparent about it, the other person will understand. So if I mean, so that's what personally, that's what I believe. I mean, that trust factor, and obviously the other important thing is consistency. You can't have separate rules. I mean, you've got to
Yeah.
be very very consistent in what you say, how you behave, your body language, because I for one believe, as a leader, your body language is more important than what you say. What you say means nothing if you can't back it up with your actions. So consistency in that, and all that. I mean, it's quite a few things. I might write a book on it actually.
So you should. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a difficult question. If I ask you both to pick your captain for India across, who would they be? The best captain. So we're going to start with Test, then we'll go to ODIs, and then we'll go to T20.
Over the
So
years you're talking about?
let's start. Yeah, let's start with ODIs.
Oh, okay.
So then we'll start with ODIs. Then we'll start with Test. We'll do ODIs.
Okay. Oh, okay. I go first. I think ODI is MS. White ball cricket MS.
Yeah, I'll be the same. I think, if you have to pick anybody in the ODIs, it has to be MS Dhoni, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry, can I put a caveat there? But at least for me, I've kind of started following cricket post 90. So before that, I think anything I say or would be unfair. So post 90, my assessment would be post 90. Let me put it this way.
Okay. And okay, that's fine. And the next one we'll have is Test cricket.
Well, Test cricket for me, I would put Saurav Ganguly ahead of everyone.
Okay.
Mainly because I've played mostly under him. I did play against Rahul Dravid as well. I have not played much against, uh, in captainship of MS Dhoni. Didn't play at all. Virat Kohli was much junior to me. But I would put Saurav Ganguly because I think, he had that personality, which a leader needs, and he, uh, for a youngster coming in, if he believed in you, I think he backed you no matter what happens, and that is a very very strong thing. When a captain believes in you and he says you that you play next 4 and 5 games, you are not going to get dropped, and that eye for the talent which Saurav Ganguly had. I mean, the kind of team that he built after 2000 is outstanding. From Yuvraj to Zahir Khan to Sehwag to Bajji, all those are his products. He gave them confidence, he gave them surety that they are going to play, and I think that means a lot. Whatever the other captains have got is because Saurav Ganguly, made these cricketers. So I feel Saurav Ganguly has to stand out.
Do you think the 2001 Test series against Australia, which Ganguly led, was a turning point in the Indian cricket history?
Oh yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, cricket again. Let's not say cricket history because Indian cricket history is what 80 years old. So let's talk about last 30 odd years. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there've been a lot of very crucial moments, 71 and 69 and all that before that as well. But yeah, and I would say in the last 30 odd years, one of the turning points, how we thought of playing Test cricket or what we thought of ourselves as a Test nation. A lot of things changed. A lot of things changed post that 2001 Australia series, without a shadow of doubt. Again, I wouldn't want to go back beyond 90s, but yeah,
Yeah.
post 90s, I think that was one of the biggest moments in Test match cricket for India.
Okay, just a quick toss update. Kolkata won the toss and they have elected to bowl first. So that is our update. And now, before we continue, T20 captain, both of you, Deep, please.
I'd like I said, I'd go with MS. White ball, both ODIs and T20. I'd go with MS. Even though, well, Virat's got good numbers in T20. He's got very good numbers in T20, to be honest. But yeah, I guess yeah.
But what about the Indian T20 league? Because we have some pretty good captains.
Rohit for me.
Okay.
Apart from MS, the
Okay.
other name that comes to my mind is Rohit. Obviously, Gautam's been fabulous. I think he's a really good leader of really good leader. Period. Uh, I seriously have a lot of respect for Gautam, the leader. I think what he achieved or what he did with Kolkata those 2 years or whatever 6 years or 5 years he was captain, but I mean was phenomenal. But apart from MS, I think Rohit, because it's not easy to lead a franchise like Mumbai because the expectations are huge. You know, not making it to the playoffs is a failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the only thing that would satisfy would be winning. So so keeping in mind the pressures and everything else, yeah, and what he's done in the last whatever 10 years that he's led the side or 9 years, I think is phenomenal.
Vaseem?
Well, I think in T20s it has to be MS and Rohit Sharma for me, and plainly because the way they led MS again, he's got ICC trophies to show, so there's no questioning him. I think he's the best white ball captain in my opinion.
Okay.
And Rohit Sharma definitely comes next, plainly because since he started captaining in 2013, Mumbai hasn't won any IPL trophies. So in last 9 seasons, he's won 5 trophies. So that says a lot about his captainship. No matter which players he had at his disposal, leading them and the pressure of leading Mumbai. There's a huge pressure leading Mumbai and leading other franchise. So I would say MS and Rohit in T20 cricket.
Okay, gentlemen, we have a couple of changes for Rajasthan. Ankul Roy replaces Venkatesh Iyer for Kolkata. Ankul Roy replaces Venkatesh Iyer while Shivam Mavi also comes in. That is that change.
Uh,
Then,
yeah,
and for
again,
Rajasthan,
two more changes.
come in for Daryl Mitchell. That's the one change for the other team. So those are there's two changes and one change in the other team that we have.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to start off with Kolkata, again, couple of changes. Anukul Roy,
Yeah.
all rounder, left arm spinner
Yeah.
and batter, middle order batter, replaces Venkatesh Iyer. I
Mm.
mean, listen, you Kolkata had retained Venkatesh Iyer, had not playing, retained Varun Chakravarti, not playing. I mean, I don't know. I honestly
Also,
And
don't know.
Pat Cummins. And
Yeah,
Pat Cummins.
and Pat Cummins paid so much of money for Pat
more than
Cummins.
$1 million for
He's not
him.
playing. It just baffles me. It seriously does baffle me that Venkatesh Iyer is not playing. Nothing against Anukul Roy, but come on. And then Shivam Mavi. I mean, listen, what happened? I mean, he was playing. He did all right. Then he was dropped for one game, maybe two, I guess, and he's back again.
Two
And
games.
what has happened? I mean, has he improved drastically in the last 1 week that he's back in the playing 11? So I don't know. I mean, it just baffles me. All these changes in the last 4 5 games just baffling.
It is baffling. But
It has. I mean, even for me, I mean, this season, KKR has been very, very surprising, with this selection. I mean, we praised them so much, post that second half last season, the way they turned it around in the last season. it has absolutely opposite this season. With so many changes, Venkatesh Iyer opening, Venkatesh Iyer batting number 6, then Venkatesh Iyer bowling the 20th over. Now he's dropped. Now Pat Cummins being dropped, Varun Chakravarti. So it's quite messy at the moment. And when you do that, I won't be surprised that this team is not going far. Even though I do hope, because they have a very good squad, but the way they've operated, surprises me.
Yeah, I think it's a game of musical chairs right now for Kolkata. So that's the only way I can say it. So, gentlemen, before I let you go, predictions, please. Deep.
Well, I'm gonna go with Rajasthan. I completely disagree how things have been handled in that dressing room or that dugout. And I personally, like I mentioned a while ago, your actions always speak louder than words. And when the actions are like that, when you're chopping and changing as much as they have done, that will have some effect in their performance. I mean, well, I'll go with Rajasthan.
Okay, Vaseem.
Yeah, even me, I would say Rajasthan is favorites, but I would like to see KKR doing well, just to make the tournament more interesting. You don't want to be a one-sided tournament. So for tournament's sake, I would say KKR to win this, and hope they make it more exciting.
Yeah, it will be certainly exciting. Before I let you both go, let's quickly look at the poll results. Out of the current top 4 sides, which captain has impressed you the most? Hardik Pandya 60%, KL Rahul 21%, Sanju Samson 10%, and K Williams at 9%. Hardik is certainly doing a fantastic job, and again, I'm very happy, but I have to say he's taken captaincy very well. We'll talk about him when it's his game. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you at the end of the game. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Please give us your thoughts and your opinions on everything that you're listening and seeing and everything. See you guys later on. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.